Hi, Cancer. Welcome to The Modern Spiritualist. My name is Raheem. Today we're going to look at January for you guys, January 2021. This is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So I did a Celtic Cross spread for January, just classic spread. Looking interesting. So let's just get into this. So your central theme for the month of January, we have the Five of Pentacles reversed. I like this for you. I wasn't sure at first, but as I'm feeling into this, it very feels like a lot of movement. I kind of feel like your spirits are lifting in January. There's a serious, like, real spirit lift, and that particular phrasing is coming to mind very strongly, so it must be important. Your spirits are lifting. Beautiful, nice ascension type energy for January in general. So let's look at the Five of Pentacles upright. So this upright is, comparison story, not enough story, feeling like everybody else is okay and you're not, feeling like everyone is in a better position than you. If you see the card itself, these people are, like crippled or like homeless, and they're standing outside this church, and inside the church, like the stained glass window, there's like warmth and love and spirit and all the good stuff, and these people are like left out in the cold. So this energy can kind of feel like you've been left out in the cold. The reversal, though, feels like you're coming out of that. I feel like this is maybe a story that you've been generating for yourself, and what that does is manifest, that reality is presenting the same thing that you're telling yourself. And so you've landed yourself in situations where it feels like that's been true for you. Keep in mind that's just a story. Comparison doesn't exist in a multidimensional reality, and you never know what someone else is going through. So keep that in mind as you move through January, because spirit lift, it's happening. I feel it so strongly. It's like you're turning all your narratives on its head, and it feels really, really good. I think that I feel like maybe some of you guys are pursuing therapy or some sort of help. Maybe you guys are reaching out to spirit, setting up altars, which may be the spirit lift. Like, you're literally leaning on spirit for help, and that is shifting everything for you. Just asking for support or asking for help is a really, really good start. And so I would encourage you to do that if you haven't. If you can ask other people in your life for help, like asking a therapist for help, asking friends you trust for help, asking for money if you need to, although I feel like for most of you guys, this is about your emotions and your self-worth. Asking the people around you for help will be really supportive. On the flip side of that, asking spirit for help, it puts less emotional stress on you, because, not to say that you shouldn't, like, you should definitely seek all the help outlets that you can if that's what you need, if you need help. Like if you're stuck in a depressive story, or something like that, where you're really struggling to get that spirit lift, the energy is supporting you getting it. And I think your mind's already there. So you're starting, if you haven't already looked for help by January and feeling this energy, you will in January, early January. And so, okay, back to what I was saying about the spirit lift. If it feels too stressful to ask people in your world for help because it feels too vulnerable or whatever, then at the very least you can go to spirit, because spirit is there to help you. And so all you have to do, if you've never done this before, is literally just sit there and say to the universe, I need help. That's all you have to say. And the reason why this works is because the only difference in the spirit world between, well, not the only difference, but a difference between helping spirits, spirits in general that don't have your best interest at heart, and compassionate, resolved helping spirits that do, is consent. And so when you hear people talk about being attacked by spirit or having ghosts surrounding them or whatever, that is because those types of entities, not to say that they're particularly malignant on purpose, but they're not resolved entities. Usually it's just the dead people in your family line that just haven't resolved. Usually that's what it is. very, very common. And so like in that situation, it's like they surround you even though you didn't ask for them to be around you because they don't understand the concept of consent. Whereas compassionate, helping spirits, good, true, and beautiful ancestors, angels, spirits that have your best interest at heart, will not come help you if you don't ask. And so that's why you can end up feeling really, really helpless if you're having some sort of spiritual issue where you're being surrounded by ghosts or whatever. I feel like for many of you that's true. I mean, that's true for most of us, but maybe this is the month where you're becoming aware of it, and you want to do something about it, or there's just this veil around you and you can't figure out what it is. It really just could be the unresolved dead. And so, that being said, just ask for help, because they will come if you ask, and they won't if you don't. And so, I mean, it's really easy to resolve that issue. Like if it just feels like there's negative entities around you, or, you know, unresolved ancestry around you or whatever, if you ask the universe, please protect me from these energies, they will. And it's just like, boom. Like it should be that easy. If it's not, please contact me. I can guide you to a resource that can diagnose the problem further and figure out why you have a block. But for most of you, if you ask for protection and you ask the universe for help, they will come. And all they're doing is waiting for you to ask. And that's just the nature of consent. And so that's why you have to ask. Because you don't receive help if you don't ask. And there's nothing wrong with needing help. We all need help, at least at some point. I mean, I ask my ancestors and my helping spirits for help every single day. That's just what I do, and what I receive is a good day, like 99.9% of the time. And the remaining time, it's only a bad day because I'm perceiving it to be that way. Whereas in reality, everything's fine. You know what I mean? And so that alone, that practice alone, is I need help in my day. I need protection. That can change the whole world for you. It really can. It really can. Not asking for help can really, really damage you in ways that feel like it's deeper. It's like there's no way that's the issue. But it's like when you make that change and you do ask for help on the spirit level first, and then, you know, everything that comes after, ideally, that's like a light switch moment. The moment you can ask for help, that's a light switch moment. And what's important to understand about that is everyone that, I mean, I can speak for spiritual practitioners. We all ask for help. We all ask our helping spirits for help, and we receive it. And that's why, you know, when you're having this Five of Pentacles energy where you're looking in the church and everyone seems to have it together and you don't, you know, maybe those people in the church, they just asked for help. So like, you know, I kind of get this response from people when they look at my practice, or they look at the people that surround me in my practice, like other tarot readers, other energy workers, whatever, and there's this disconnect because it's like, well, why do you have it and I don't? Well, it's not that we have it and you don't. It's that we made a choice, and that choice was to ask. And so, you know, if you don't communicate with the spirits, they're not going to do anything for you. I mean, they'll do what they can, but they can only do so much because they can only do so much without consent. Consent is key, and that's why you ask for help. I feel like I want to say more about that too. There's a tendency to not want to ask for help because it feels like that makes you weak. And that's not true. Asking for help makes you humble. And humility, there's no opposite. You know, like the opposite of arrogance is low self-esteem. Kind of. At the same time, arrogance surfaces because there's low self-esteem underneath it, and so it's a polarity, but they hold each other in dynamic. Humility drops the whole comparison story. Humility is a universal spiritual frequency that pulls you out of duality and out of comparison. And humility is what allows us to both receive what we need to receive so that we feel supported, and then take steps, and then feel empowered to take the steps we need to take, because humility is not lack of confidence, right? It's just, it creates a different dynamic in our relationships, and it can change everything too. So lean on tools like that. They're really simple, and they can make such drastic change if you do them, okay? So I think I said enough about that card. crossing. I just want to conclude. You have powerful potential to lift your spirits this month, figuratively and literally. Like you could literally lift your spirit, or you have the potential to feel a lot happier, to start to feel like you can come out of any kind of dense, depression-y energy that you've been grappling with. And many of us have because of the nature of this past year, yeah. Queen of Pentacles, that's the challenge that's crossing this energy. So this is about independence. And so I just feel like there's a story here. There's a sense of, I already said it. I'm going to repeat it because this energy is coming up. It's like you don't want other people to think that you can't hack it, or that you need help, or that you need support, whether it's emotional or financial. The Queen of Pentacles is a very independent energy. But the Queen of Pentacles did not build herself up on her own. She reached this certain level of independence because she had clear, loving, interdependent relationships, and those relationships helped forge her into the person that she is now. While it seems like she has it all together and she's just by herself, she is so fully supported by the earth, and that's why we have all this like beautiful, fertile energy around her, is because she's in constant communication with the earth. So she's always nurturing this relationship of, not only, how can I help these plants grow, but why is she helping the plants grow? Because they have that relationship with her. They bring her happiness. They have a love relationship together, and it's reciprocal in that way. They provide oxygen, right? They clean up the air for her, and so it's not like she just does everything herself. It's that she is in a relationship with the world in which everything is this beautiful, loving transaction. And that's humility. That is humility. And so if you can drop the story, the narrative of other people are going to think I'm weak, or other people are going to think that I lack independence, or whatever else is coming up for you that makes you feel shame for needing to ask for help. This Queen of Pentacles is a reminder like, hey, nobody builds themselves up from the ground with no help. Everyone has help. It's the nature of reality, is that we're all one being, right? And so nobody gets anywhere without relationships, without people and spirits and animals and plants around them that help them feel abundant and rich and nurtured. It's a reciprocal relationship. We don't get pets to take care of them and receive nothing in return. We get pets because they make us happy, and they provide unconditional love and friendship, right? And then we learn from taking care of something else, we learn how to do that and how to nurture. And so it's reciprocal in that way. Same energy, As I'm like looking at my rabbit with her ears perked, listening. Yeah. Okay. Deep past affecting the present. We have the King of Wands reversed. This is feeling powerless. So this could, I get the sense for many of you, this is deep, deep, deep childhood. This could even be repressed memories or emotions. Or it might not be. It might just be a pattern. It could be ancestral. Again, this could be a pattern that you were born into. So there could be this feeling of like not even knowing what it feels like to be empowered, because your entire family line lacks empowerment. Somewhere down the road something happened and that was brought into the line. So again, if it feels like there's this veil over you, or it's like a pattern keeps repeating and you can't seem to end it, I'm just feeling ghosts very strongly. What I mean by ghosts is just unresolved ancestry, which is in your DNA. Even if you don't want to be super woo-woo about it, it's just in your DNA. And the answer to that problem is calling out to your good, true, and beautiful ancestors, your luminous ancestors, your resolved ancestors specifically. If you just say ancestors, then everyone will come. But if you ask specifically good, true, and beautiful ones, please come protect me and keep the unresolved dead out of my field. They will come do it. They'll do it instantly. They love to do it. They're waiting for you to do it. And so that may help shift things. If this is not that, if it's just if this is a question of self-worth, you need money, you need support, you're feeling depressed, and you don't want to go that route, this this energy is impacting what you do next, and it needs to be addressed. And so this feeling of powerlessness, regardless of where it comes from, is keeping you stuck in this energy where you don't receive because you feel like you're unworthy of receiving, or you don't ask for help because you feel like you'll be looked down on if you do. Nobody's looking down on you if you ask for help. I can't repeat that enough. I used to be like that, and thank God I finally asked to change my life, right? So yeah, what needs to be addressed here is that feeling of powerlessness. I'm trying to think. I feel like something else is coming through. Just remember that all things contain their opposite, right? And so if you have a sense of what powerlessness feels like, then you understand power. Then you understand being empowered on some level. Otherwise, you would have no frame of reference. And so remember that you have this powerful king, this king of wands, this king of fire, this go-getter, this dynamic person, this person that knows what they want and how to get it, right? That person exists within you. It's just stuck. It's just stuck. It's buried underneath fear or trauma, or your own self-bullying. Like if you tell yourself you're not worthy, you're not good enough, people don't like you, whatever, then that is just creating this veil over this energy that you just haven't tapped into. And so you are not inherently powerlessness. You are not inherently powerless. Nobody is. Everybody has power. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Like the fact that you are here in a room, whatever room you're in right now, if you're outside, whatever, taking up space. You're in a body. That's power. Okay? You have the power to think, to make decisions, to take action, to impact the people around you. That is power. And so to tell yourself that you're powerless, that is a lie. The feeling is real. If you feel powerless, that is a very valid feeling that comes out of a specific situation, but we're not born powerless inherently. I did say you may come into that energy from unresolved ancestry, but that still doesn't mean that you're powerless. It just means that you have a perpetuating pattern or feeling or story around power that just needs to be cleared out of your field. That just happens to be ancestral. But you're not inherently, like the real energy around that is power, because powerlessness doesn't exist without power. You know, powerlessness literally means, you know, not having power or losing power or something like that. But what I'm trying to isolate here is the fact that power is in the name itself, which means it's there. It doesn't actually. You can't actually lose something that's right there. I mean, like if you can say the word, try to say the word powerless without saying the word power. And so, can you just drop the list? Can you just isolate the word power and just affirm to yourself, I am powerful. I'm here. I'm safe. I have a right to be here and take up space. I am a human in a body. I can affect the world around me. I can speak. I can think. I can feel. I can sense. I can intuit. I have power. I have power. I have power. And then see what comes up. Because something in you may come up and fight you on that, and that is the reversal of this King of Wands. That is the feeling or person or trauma response within you that's saying, hey, you don't get to say you have power because we've decided we're powerless. So I would just try that. Again, a really simple exercise. Just sit down somewhere, say out loud or write, I am powerful. I am full of power. And see what triggers a response in your body, like somatically, like see who gets upset and start to explore that. A great way you can do that is through like automatic writing or art or meditation or whatever works for you, just do it. I mean, we all have ways to tap into ourselves. I'm pretty sure. So whatever you have that works for you, do it, because underneath that powerlessness is a whole lot of power. And if you can tap into that power, suddenly it's easy to ask for help, because suddenly you feel like you're worthy of it. Or suddenly you feel like asking for help can actually exact change because of the power that you have inherently. And so, because what asking for help can be sometimes is feeling like if you ask, nothing's going to happen. And that's the worst that could happen, right? Like the worst that could happen if you ask for help is nothing. Things will stay the same. So then why not try, right? Why not try? Because the best that can happen is fundamental change that makes you feel happier, that lifts your spirits, that brings you into a new way of being. So powerful, powerful potential here. Foundation, the Fool. This is a trigger. This is fear. Yeah, I really feel it strongly in my stomach. This is fear of taking a risk. I think the risk here is risking the heart. It's a fear of vulnerability because if you ask for help, I mean, this is the story that you're telling yourself. If you ask for help, you might not get it, and maybe that feels like a rejection. So maybe there's a rejection story here. Yeah, that's coming in really strongly. Fearing rejection. So the thing about the Fool is it's about risk. The Fool in the upright is taking that risk. It's stepping off that cliff into a new start. It's trust falling into the universe. In the reverse, you don't want to do that. That is a terrifying place to be. Jump anyway. If you're really scared and you're triggered and you don't want to ask for help, just ask yourself what you have to lose. Because if you fear rejection, that is already in your field. You know what I mean? I feel like often the fear of rejection is the worst part of it. Because if you ask that person on a date and they say no, it's like you go through this period of disappointment or sadness, or at worst feeling like you're worthless or unlovable or whatever, and then you move through it and then you're back to normal. Whereas the fear of rejection is like so anticipatory. Like, I feel like it's always worse to ask someone on the date than getting the no. I feel like the asking feels more intense. That may be different for you, but I feel like the anticipation is always worse. And so, that being said, if you fear rejection, ask yourself what you have to lose and ask anyway, especially with, if you're only asking spirit, if everything else feels too scary and you're just deciding to ask for help or protection from the universe itself, really, what do you have to lose? The worst that can happen is nothing, and maybe that feels disheartening to you. But I would, from my experience alone, I would guarantee that something will come in for you. You will receive help. Maybe it's not right away. Maybe you won't recognize it for what it is. Maybe you don't let it in when it knocks on the door. But help will come. You just need to answer the door. Again, this is about power. This is about power. Will you answer the door when help comes? Will you feel empowered to say, yes, I'm ready to accept help and bring that in? So this is very tricky because I don't think you'll be able to move through this energy in a good way without fear. I think that fear is a given here. And that's not, again, comparison story, that is not specifically you. Like, I'm not saying you specifically can't move through this without fear. I'm saying the human condition specifically is you don't receive the thing that you want if you don't take action even though you're scared. I mean, that's what bravery is. That's what courage is. It's being scared and doing it anyway. And so I think this is a powerful opportunity for you to face that lesson, especially if you never have before, or you never have in a good way. This is a really clean energy to take that risk, to jump even though you're afraid, and to see what happens on the other side of that. Because, I mean, it's a cliche, but it's true. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. And the key in life is not to live without fear. It's to make friends with our fear. It's to be able to speak with our fear in a way that protects us where it really counts, but doesn't prevent us from living fully. Because what is life without risk? The best rewards come from risk. So take that risk. Take that risk of love. Feel empowered to take that risk of love. Ask for help. Lift your spirits. Powerful. Really powerful. Crowning you this month. This is your high point. This is what Spirit has to offer you. Four of Swords. Relief. Four of Swords can kind of be like a mini death. It's not as intense or as abrupt as the Death card. It's kind of more of a softening. So I feel like this is offering you rest. Um, this is a bit of a respite, maybe from your problems in a practical sense, more likely um, from the ways that you've tied your own self in knots. And so, independently of your situation, which is what it is and it just is, um, if you can take a moment to sit with yourself, maybe lay down, maybe just sit, pull back, take a day off work, take a day to yourself where you're not like doing much of anything else, and just really check in with yourself, meditate, whatever, and see what comes through, because this can also be a bit of an energetic download. Like, spirit just gives you a piece of information that helps you move forward, helps you release energy you don't need. It feels very gentle. And there's something else here. Also, what I want to point out is both of these cards have stained glass windows. And I'm getting spirit very strongly from both of these cards. And so I think if you simply ask for help from spirit, that alone will change things for you. I really do feel that way. There's something else. It's right there. What is it trying to say to me? Something about being at rest in your own soul. Okay, so this is kind of going back to, if you take some time for yourself, separate from your situation in the physical material world, which is what it is, whether you feel like you're in bad shape or you are in bad shape or everything's fine and it's just your emotions and your self-worth and whatever. This is an opportunity to rest. And I don't mean rest like in the physical sense of the word, like just taking a break. I mean, if you are tired of your stories, if you are tired of feeling powerless, if you are tired of feeling too scared to take a risk, if you are tired of feeling like everyone else is okay and you're not, if you're tired of feeling like you're not worthy, all of those stories, if you're tired of not being able to ask for help, if you're tired of that, which can feel so exhausting because it doesn't matter how much sleep you get, it doesn't matter what else is going on. It's soul tired because it's a full-time job to maintain all these negative stories, all these self-limiting stories. It's a full-time job. We come by it honestly, but as adults, we have the power to change it, right? So if you are just tired and bored and exhausted of your own knots that have been tied within you, spirit is offering reprieve. Spirit is saying, come, channel. I'm sorry, kids are playing outside and it's kind of distracting me. Spirit saying, come, lay down, sit, breathe, focus on your breath, ask for help, engage with me. And it's offering you rest, real soul rest. I think you'll be able to tap into a place where you realize, where you get higher, where you lift your spirits. You realize that that you can zoom out of your perspective, that you can zoom out of your ego's perspective, and once you do that, everything changes because you recognize things that you couldn't see before because you were just zoomed in too much. It's kind of like, if you were like zoomed in on Australia and you thought that Australia was the only thing that existed, and then you zoomed out and then you saw the entire Earth, like it, from I guess you would have to be from space for this metaphor to work. So you're sitting on the moon and you've solely your whole life, even maybe, you've solely been like zoomed in on Australia, and like that's all that you think exists, and then you realize that you can just zoom out of your telescope lens, and suddenly there's this entire Earth, and you're like, oh, things aren't what I thought they were at all. Right? So that's the potential here for you to zoom out enough that you realize that your stories and your knots that you're telling yourself, these negative narratives, aren't the whole truth. I mean, they're an experience you're having, and again, they're valid. I'm not invalidating your experience at all. What I'm saying is that they are simply narratives that have happened because of what you've experienced in your life. It creates a habit pattern of the mind, right? And so to unwind these stories that keep us feeling small and trapped, we have to zoom out and see what else is there. And if we don't realize that anything else exists. We just think that's the reality. When you zoom out, you realize, oh, there is so much more to life than I thought. There is so much more positivity. There is so much more faith and joy and hope and excitement and love. Not just in the world, but in you. Like, there is so much more in you than you are seeing right now. And the potential in January is to see more of that. See the things that are going to set you free. And even if it's just a snapshot moment, even if you meditate, even if it's for the first time you've ever meditated, and you finally get into that state or tap into that state where you're free and anything's possible because your ego quieted down and you tapped into that deeper pattern of your soul. And your soul is, of course, everything. Your soul contains everything. Your soul is God. If you hate that word, your soul is the universe. Everything around you in this world is just your soul pushed out so you can look at it as a mirror. And so life is reflecting your current state back to you all the time. Good news is you have the power, the complete 100% power to change it at any moment, to change your beliefs, to change the stories you tell yourself. And then suddenly life reflects that back to you. And so life is a mirror. What do you want your life to look like? If you want it to look like something different, then allow that to be true. Push through the tension, push through the fear, push through the negativity and negative self-talk. Replace those with positive beliefs and thoughts, and build yourself up. Don't tear yourself down. And then just see how things shift for you. And again, the key here is spirit, asking for help. Because if you've never done any of this work before, that will help you tap into things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, simply because you never have. So you have the entire universe within you. The universe is infinite. So you have the power to just wipe the canvas clean and repaint. New circumstance. This is like the longest video ever, but I don't care. This is fun. 4 of Cups reversed. Just not taking phone calls right now. I think you may take a lot of time for yourself this month to really figure out the root of some of these feelings that you're having. It may seem just like people are knocking on the door and you're not letting them in. But it doesn't feel like it's because you don't want to be vulnerable. It just feels like you don't want to be, hyper-stimulated this month. It's like you've got enough going on and you don't need to hold space for other people. Maybe that's your role. Maybe you help everyone and no one helps you, which is linked to a fear of abandonment story, which goes back into the powerless story. So look at that. Yeah, I think you're just not taking house calls right now, and I think that's fine. And really, that's all I'm getting from this. Again, what I'm feeling from the reversal is your capacity to go inward and meditate and connect with the spirits above you, or around you, rather than people in the physical material world. This, for some of you, this is like just going to be a spirit month, and that's real fun. You'll make new friends, potentially. Invisible friends. Okay, your ego this month. We have the Queen of Wands, reversed. So we have the King and Queen here. How neat. King of Wands reversed. Queen of Wands reversed. Okay. I know you can feel your power. If you felt powerless in the past, that's not a comment on the present. You can feel your power right now. All I'm getting from the reversal is that you know that you need to tap into it. Like, it may not be readily accessible to you, but you have the idea in your mind that there's power within you, and this is you pursuing it. And so, Queen of Wands, again, going within and finding the power that you have inside yourself. Powerful. Environmental energy, 10 of Cups. If you reach out to support in your human life this month, I mean, I know I said you may not be, but for those of you that maybe this is just a break off work, or you're not letting new people into your life, you've decided not to date new people, you know, it could be like any other facet of that, even if it's not like the people immediately around you. The people immediately around you are so supportive. So if you have a moment where you say, okay, I'm brave, I'm gonna ask for help from the people around me this month, or I'm gonna call a therapist, or whatever. This is the confirmation that you're not gonna get rejected. Everyone around you is going to be so supportive. They're going to help you. They're going to guide you to resources that you need. My one caveat there is take those resources. As somebody who does a lot of emotional support, it is so frustrating to be asked for help, to give tools, and for them to not be received. And that can kind of cut me specifically off from the people that I would like to help, because it doesn't go anywhere. They create a wall, right? And so don't create a wall with the people who are trying to help you. If they give you resources, use them. Especially if they're people that you trust and look up to, because obviously there's something there, right? They have access to something that you're maybe not letting yourself have access to. They, of course, want to share that with you. So take the tools and resources people give you. Let people support you, because there's a lot of love around you. I think there's more love around you than you're giving yourself credit for feeling. If this is not people, this is spirit. This is spirit around you. If you ask for help and you tap in and they come to you, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the protection if that's what you ask for. You're going to feel the love if that's what you ask to feel. This is spirit saying, we have your back, we're behind you. Regardless of whether you ask, they still have your back. But they can do a lot more for you if you ask. They can come closer. They can provide warmth. They can provide light. They can guide you on that path that we're all taking, whether we're conscious of it or not. So this is saying there's so much love around you. So much love. Okay? Hopes and fears. Eight of Swords. This is just reflecting your own self-limiting narratives. What's important to understand about the Eight of Swords is this person is trapping themselves. They're not actually surrounded by the swords. There's an opening. It's kind of this energy of like putting the blindfold over yourself and choosing not to see. And so the task this month, I think the biggest fear that you're going to face is yourself. Yourself and, the trauma that you might have internalized, the stories you might have internalized. It's a tough, I want to speak carefully. No, I'm just going to speak, because if you don't want to hear it, you won't. So, but if you do want to hear it, you will. It is a very tough lesson. It is one of the most important spiritual lessons, but it is a very tough lesson to realize that as an adult, you perpetuate all your own problems. What we come into, what we're born into, in the ancestral dysfunction, doesn't set us up for success. What we experience in childhood due to the collective patterns that we're dealing with does not set us up for success. We do not initiate children into adulthood the way that, indigenous shamanic cultures did. And that's a problem, because now we're just walking around as wounded children in adult bodies, and it's creating a big mess. So with that, as an adult, you have all the power in the world to create your reality. After you're done being a dependent child, dependent on dysfunctional patterns of your parents, most likely being impressed by all that shit, all of that is valid. The inner child within you deserves your compassion and respect, and deserves to be validated. However, the adult in you makes all your own choices, right? So if you choose to continue to self-victimize, to be in this comparison story, to tell yourself you're not good enough, to tell yourself you don't have power, to tell yourself you're not brave, to tell yourself that if you ask for help, people are going to look down on you, to tell yourself that you're not loved, or that you will be abandoned, all of these stories that we all cope with. It's just part of the collective right now, these patterns. What spirituality does is give us tools to work with them, transform them, change them, identify them for what they are, so that they don't have weight on our decisions, so that we can live happy, authentic lives. That's the path, right? That is the path that you choose to walk when you choose to walk it. And so the potential here is the realization that you've been tying yourself down, blindfolding yourself, and trapping yourself. And of course, that's a scary, scary lesson. It causes grief, it causes anger, it causes pain. And we all go through it. We all reach this moment where we realize that we've done this. So, all who walk the path anyway. So if you're walking this path, which I think you are because you're watching this video, if you're walking this path, this is the moment when everything changes. When you accept responsibility for the ways that you've caused your own suffering in your adult life. You get your power back. It hurts. It's scary. But you get your power back. And when you get your power back, everything changes. And that's the potential here, okay? Outcome. Ace of Cups reversed. New start in your emotional life. And this may not be readily apparent to the world around you. So I don't think you're making a lot of external environment changes this month. I think that's fine. If you need support, ask for it, and I think you'll be supported. It's not like, if you have a job, it's not like you're going to stop working or anything like that. I just don't know if you'll be implementing any changes this month necessarily. And that's all I'm getting from the reversal here. The Ace of Cups is you're being unblocked. I feel it. You may be carrying a lot of stuff in your spine, like in your back. I noticed that from people that are particularly identified with their stories. There's kind of this kind of runs along their spine. That's where they keep their, that's where they store all of their shit. So I am feeling this in your back. But it's like you're unblocking your back. And so if you do yoga, if you do Tai Chi, if you get a massage this month even, if you do any kind of body movement work, or if you choose to do it this month, even if you haven't done it before, that's going to really help unblock you. This is your spine, which is key because your brainstem goes into your spine, and so that's where you store a lot of your trauma. If you unblock energy in your spine, a lot can change. The Ace of Cups is ultimately about you feeling so much better and happier, and so I think this is a new emotional start. This is a new start in your emotional life, and it's going to be, I think it's triggered by this decision that you're tired of your stories. And then as you do the work through the month, the potential here at the end is kicking off this emotional rebirth so that you move into this new cycle just feeling so much better about yourself. I would highly recommend you do something to physically unblock your spine because that will just make things move faster and it will be easier and it will give you a sense of direction. So a massage is great, yoga is great, Tai Chi is great. Even like a Reiki, I think, would be great, or acupuncture. Anything that appeals to you, I think, is going to really help you kind of integrate the lessons that you're learning this month. So, high potential to unblock something in your spine. I feel it through my entire spine, which is a huge unblocking. So, that's going to free up a lot of energy. That can also, Ace of Cups is connected to the crown, and when we feel shame, we get cut off at the crown, which cuts us off from the highest power and the divine and the spirits. And so if you start to initiate that conversation with the spirit world, you're going to start to naturally unblock your spine because I think it's connected to the shame story that's keeping you from reaching out. And so if you reach out, it unblocks your crown. It's going to kind of trickle down through your whole spine, and I think it's very restorative. I would specifically ask the highest power, or like the cosmos, for cleansing and protection, and then allow the energy to move through your body. Invite it in, because that's going to flush you out. Okay, that's all I have for you. If you have a personal concern, please schedule something with me in the box below. We can talk about your specific situation and specific tools unique to you that will help you cope with all this energy, because it's intense. And I was not sugarcoating that. And so if you stuck with me through this video, I really appreciate it. I think it says a lot about you. in a really positive way. It says a lot about you. So go ahead and like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see the next video in February, and I will see you guys then. I love you guys. You can do this, okay? You're just so... Cancer is so vibrant and compassionate and loving, and because of that, I mean, you deserve the world, and I want you to get into a place where you feel like you deserve the world, okay? All right. Thanks, guys.